Are you a seven-figure practice owner that wants to do more without burning out? Join us for the Seven-Figure Practice Retreat, a luxury mastermind where high-level practice owners step away from the day-to-day to build systems, strategy, and freedom in the Dominican Republic. This February, spots are limited, so apply now, and our sponsors are covering 95% of the cost over at practiceofthepractice.com/7. Again, that's practiceofthepractice.com/7. This is the Practice of the Practice podcast with Joe Sanok, session number 1272. Welcome to the Practice of the Practice podcast. I am Joe Sanok, your host, where we help you build a thriving private practice you absolutely love. We are so excited to have you here today, hanging out with us. Now, back in May of 2025, we put on the Group Practice Conference. And at this conference, I had this dream of putting on a conference that was unlike any other. I wanted the feeling to be like connections, that people had time to meet each other. I always hated conferences where the parts that I love the most, probably getting dinner with new people or having drinks at the end of the evening, that part was so small in the calendar. And I spent most of my time just running between breakout sessions and keynotes and all of that. And the other side of it was oftentimes it felt like I would be in a session and it'd be a 90-minute session. And I really only got about 10 to 20 minutes worth of content. There's a lot of fluff in there. It just felt like get to the point. And so for what we decided to do at the Group Practice Conference was we decided that we would have 20-minute sessions on the main stage, all of our keynotes, 20 minutes, and that we would have ample time for breakout sessions and to have time to dig in, to talk about group practice, to get to know people, and to encourage people that if they're having a great conversation, keep that going. You don't have to come back in. Continue those conversations going. And so we found that the folks that came to the Group Practice Conference in May had such a great time. They felt emotionally connected to other group practice owners. And it was just such a great event that we've tripled the size for May of 2026. We're going to be over at Northwestern Michigan College, right on their campus. And we are partnering with both Headway and the Student Life Department to put this on. And our main stage is going to be where the actual TED Talks of Traverse City take place. And then all of our discussions and our kind of digging deeper sessions are going to be throughout an art gallery. It's going to be just such a fun, unique event that we're super excited about. And lots of you weren't able to make the Group Practice Conference in 2025. And so we want to give you just a little glimpse into that. So we're going to be doing a series every week for a while throughout the end of the year where those 20-minute main stage sessions, we're going to be playing those for you. We want you to be able to learn from all of our speakers that we had, and we want you to get excited for the Group Practice Conference in May 2026. So we want you to get excited for this over at grouppracticeconference.com. That's where you can be on the waiting list so that when tickets go live on Black Friday through Cyber Monday, you can grab your ticket. We want you to get those discounts that we have. We want you to get any of those kind of lowest priced tickets. We know they're going to sell out fast. All of our sponsors have committed to sending emails to their list. And, Headway alone, who is our co-host of this, along with the Student Life Department over at NMC, has 60,000 people on their email list that are part of Headway. So we expect, the 300 or so tickets that we're offering to go quickly. So if this is something that you're interested in coming to Traverse City, we want to make sure you're on that wait list and ready to go on Black Friday so that you can get your ticket. We know they're going to go quickly. So head on over to grouppracticeconference.com and you can watch all the different things going on there and get on the wait list so that when that goes live, you get first access. So let's dive into this episode with some of our speakers from the Group Practice Conference in May 2025. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be doing a Q&A discussion
with some of our consultants here at Practice of the Practice. I know you've met all of them. There's Nicole also. Sweet. So we're going to be doing a Q&A for the next 20 minutes with the four of them. This is just to learn about their practices, how they think. They each have their own unique way of thinking about group practice. But just in a couple sentences, if I could just have each of you just kind of share a little bit. I know you know, most of everybody knows you, but just as a quick reminder of who you are as a practice owner and who you are as a consultant.
As a practice owner, I started solo practice end of 2019, really jumped in 2020, a couple weeks before the pandemic. That was fun. Been doing group for 3 years now. I've got 2 full-time, 2 part-time, and then a contractor. As a consultant, obviously the W-2 stuff and helping people transition, having done the 1099 to W-2. I'm also a big systems nerd, so all the different systems like Practice Vitals and stuff like that. How do you get your systems to drive effectively for you so you don't have to drag them along with you? So that's kind of my two areas there.
Perfect.
Off to Brandon.
As a practice owner, I am in that phase of transitioning from solo to group. And so, I've been doing my group practice since 2022 and completely virtual at this time right now. As a consultant, I'm really interested in helping people who are making a transition into private practice, that they think they want to go into group practice, and help them really develop systems and things like that to help them scale and think through the process and developing or reinforcing the discipline necessary to be a practice owner.
Hello, I'm Melissa. I'm based in New Jersey. I know, woo woo. Yeah, I met a few of you here. As a practice owner, I have the really large in-network practice, but also the boutique-y out-of-network practice. Something I didn't say is that we really value specialty teams. So we train perinatal therapists. We have the only in-network Queer Eye community therapy group where it's by and for people who are part of the community, which is a huge retention thing as well. And then we also focus on recovery and sobriety. So we bring people in and train them to be specialists. We specialize in couples counseling. So any thoughts or questions along those lines. And then for consulting, I really love just solving the strategy puzzle with you. We'll get the whole business model out. We'll figure out what makes sense for you to do, how to supervisory billing work, just any of the things that you're before I go down this rabbit trail and waste a lot of time. I love helping people with that kind of thing. But probably best to work with someone who has a group and is trying to do a scale kind of thing.
Hi there, I'm Nicole. I have a Northern Michigan counseling practice with 4 locations and over 40 therapists, a mix of virtual, face-to-face, and full-time, part-time. And as a consultant, I really love helping folks who are maybe have one location and they're ready to take that leap and take that risk, which if you were a part of my discussion yesterday, I talked a lot about risk taking and how it's a necessity in the growth of your practice. And so I really love folks who are interested in, moving from one location to 2 and taking that leap. And I really love talking about marketing and relationship building within communities and, community collaboration efforts as ongoing continuous referral sources. And I also love people helping people move from private pay to insurance, because I can say I would not have scaled to where I am if I wouldn't have taken that leap, which I really didn't want to do, but I knew it was necessary in my geographic location.
Well, to stay consistent, we're only doing a 20-minute Q&A. This could have been a full-day thing, but most likely my final closing keynote is going to end a little early. So if there's someone here that you're I want to talk with them more about consulting or what they're doing, we'll have plenty of time afterwards. And then we also have the after party at Little Fleet that I think most of us are going to. So even if you're I didn't get a question answered, we've got 15 minutes, so we're not going to do one question, then all 4 answer. So it's just a little taste here. So I'm going to ask some questions individually. I'd say if you have a follow-up answer, feel free, but just recognize our time. Let's start with, when do you think, Nicole, that people should start considering a second location?
Earlier today, you gave that 60% mark. And for me, not only do I bring new clinicians on when they get 60% full or when my practice gets 60% full, but when I am at max capacity. So if I have a 7-office location, all of my offices are full, all my clinicians are, over that 60% mark, or as a practice, we're over that 60% mark, I'm looking at opening a new location. Also, if you just recognize markets within your geographic location. So I have 2 locations in one town, another location an hour and a half west, another location an hour south. So it also depends on the market that you want to capture. Specifically, for me, it was the need in Northern Michigan. So when there's a need and when you notice that you're at capacity, either with your physical space or your geographic location, or just the number of clinicians you can handle in one occupancy, it's time to look at opening up another, especially if you want to scale and make more money. It's okay to talk about money.
Melissa, if I recall correctly from when I had you on the podcast at the very beginning, I think you had brought on 11 clinicians in 1 month. Have you beat that record yet?
No, but crazily, we did do it again. And then we were like, what is wrong with us?
What does it take to bring on 11 clinicians in 1 month? What's that take?
So to be fair, because we have 3 locations and 4 sort of site directors, so it's not like me interviewing 50 people to pick the 11, so we have different teams doing it. But we just found that there were some cadences in the year where everyone's reaching out now, but we're do you have your license yet? So you can't work for us yet, so it just somehow works out that August, September is a huge time. So we do a lot of planning. We bring people on 6 weeks before, we launch marketing 5 weeks before, we obsess over their caseload, we get them there, we train them, and then you can also just pack more of that in. 5 people can do the day 1 training all together, So, but everyone basically loses their mind for a few weeks, and then everyone's fine.
You just got to be prepared. You're going to lose your mind, but you got 11 new people that have onboarded.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. As a therapist, I can tell you from experience that having the right EHR is an absolute lifeline. I recommend using Therapy Notes. They make billing, scheduling, note-taking, telehealth, and e-prescribe incredibly easy. Best of all, they offer live telephone support that's available 7 days a week. You don't have to take my word for it. Do your own research and see for yourself. Therapy Notes is the #1 highest rated EHR system available today, with a 4.9 out of 5 stars on trustpilot.com and on Google. All you have to do is click the link below or type promo code Joe on their website over at therapynotes.com and receive a special 2-month trial absolutely free. Again, that's therapynotes.com and use promo code Joe on the website. If you're coming from another EHR, Therapy Notes will also import your demographic data quick and easy at no cost, so you can get started right away. Trust me, don't waste any more of your time and try Therapy Notes. Just use promo code Joe at checkout. So Brandon, so you're going from solo to group. You've been working on that, doing the group practice launch program, now consulting. There's a ton of people that are in that same phase here. We saw with Andrew's breakout session a bunch of folks that are solo going to group or small group. What advice do you have for people that are early stage group practice?
3 things: mindset, discipline, humility. Mindset being internal, there's an internal shift. We like to try things, but instead of trying, you want to switch to a training mode, understanding that everything that you do is not going to successfully launch. So you learn from the mistake, and then you regroup. Discipline for me, I made it an acronym, is determined if success can inspire prolonged lingering inside nasty environments. And a lot
Thank God AI is transcribing that for us.
Determine if success can inspire prolonged lingering inside nasty environments. And those environments can be internal or external. And if you are comfortable with being uncomfortable, then when it's time to make those decisions about, I need to let you go, or, I need to do this thing, or I need to make this pivot, you're going to be okay because you've already internally said, I've done it. I know that this is probably not going to be popular. Going from 1099 to W-2, that's probably not going to be popular with people because they're thinking numbers and, my pay is about to drop and all of that stuff. And so you have to be comfortable with those decisions and those discussions. And humility for me is a blend of 3 things. It's strength, compassion, and openness. And it's not a 30-30-30. It's whatever you need in that moment. And sometimes you're going to be like Niagara Falls. Other times you're going to be like Lake Michigan.
Lake Michigan. Thank you. So Andrew, when you spoke in Cancun when we did Killing It Camp down there, your talk was on the Legos of private practice, kind of the like building blocks. And you've helped lead the group practice launch program for a number of years now, co-led it. What do you see as the biggest differentiator between people that successfully launch a group practice in that, like, say, 6 to 12 months and those that fall flat on their face? Like, what do they do to do it well? Be honest.
Grit, honestly, like just sticking with it and just know, like, you're not going to know everything, and you got to figure out, like, you're the build the plane as you go person, and that's really it. So even now going and transitioning with a bunch of the delegating out stuff, it's like, I haven't done this. We're going to figure this out. Tell me how I'm doing. And so again, the humility thing and the grit, I think is really it. And then just knowing all the plus one minus stuff. What do I want to keep and do I need to keep it? And mostly what do I hate doing because I need to get rid of that first so I can then focus on the stuff I can do. Yeah.
So that we don't have Mike juggling, we're going to start here and then come back. So Andrew, I'm wondering, like, what do you do to keep that balance between like your group practice and like kind of the needs right now compared to where you see where it could be, that kind of future versus present?
That's a hard question in some ways because, like, the slide from Jill's about hurricane brain, we're all still kind of coming out of that. So just thinking ahead of, like, what's going to bring stability, and is this going to be stability and room to grow? So when I get there, is it going to hold space for what we need? I think is probably a big takeaway.
Brandon, for you, what inspires you when you're thinking about your group practice?
Faithfully serving my generation. Again, for me, it's removing the stigma. As you can tell, as you can see, there's probably not a lot of people that look like me that's in the mental health space, but there's a lot of people that look like me that could probably benefit from mental health work. And so that's what inspires me, being in a position to say, you know what, this is not a dirty word. It's getting mental health help think of it as going to get your tires rotated or getting your oil changed or getting the maintenance on your car. It's maintenance for the mind. It's helping you because you only have one life. You can go get another car. You can replace your engine, but you can't replace yourself. And so that passion and that thought process is what drives me.
In a second, we're going to take a couple questions, so have them ready to go and who you're pointing those questions to. Melissa, you know, when people have practices as big as you and Nicole, it's like, oh, that'd be nice. That'd be amazing. When has your practice pissed you off the most?
Oh, man. Like, how long do you have? I would say probably the lowest low, but there's so many competitor moments. We went through like an absolutely hellish 10-month audit with Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, 2,500 claims we had to submit. We got feedback on 25 of them. $250,000 later, we emerge, pass the audit. They love us now. But just stuff like that where you're like, I didn't even know that was possible, much less like could have planned for it, or just any of those things. Yeah. So that kind of pleasant surprise.
I'm going to ask a follow-up question. What did you guys unintentionally do well to make that audit easier for yourself?
Absolutely nothing. But now that we are, as we learned how to get out of the audit, now we are like masters of like CPT codes, reading all the documents, the 60-page contract, like we just have figured out exactly what they need us to do. So that next time we'll pass with flying colors first time.
Awesome. Nicole, same question to you. When has mental illness counseling pissed you off the most?
Oh, there hasn't been one moment, but
it's just collectively bad.
Well, no, it's lovely. I love it. But what I will say is, and I've talked about this in webinars before, you will have clinicians leave for lots of different reasons. And I think in the beginning, I took it so personally. It was about me. What did I do wrong? What could I have done? Why don't they like me? Why don't they like my practice? What did I do? And over the years, I've just learned to accept that this is part of what we do, right? Young clinicians are going to come on. They're going to want to make more money. They're going to go off and start their own practices. You don't offer something that another practice does. So what I've been doing now to kind of remedy that is when somebody says, Nicole, it's time for me to move on, I'm a cheerleader for them. I give them a high five as they're walking out the door. And most of the time they take their clients because ethically I feel like that's what's best for the clients. But I think in the beginning, one of the hardest things for me was that internal, like, what did I do? Why don't you like me? And I've just learned to accept that as part of the game. People are going to leave and there's going to be fluxes in and out, and that's okay. And don't take it personally.
Amazing. All right. God, I feel like Oprah. This is awesome. Why was I standing here the whole time?
Do I get a car, Joe?
I should have.
I get a car.
Chair is, oh my gosh. So, do you have a question? Anyone have a question for any of our panelists? Raise your hand. No, you answered them all. All right. Oh, there we go. All right.
I'm pretty sure that everyone who hasn't been audited before is like super afraid of being audited. So where can we go to find information to prevent something bad from happening in an audit? So what has to be in the notes? What has to be, up to date, all the things?
Well, so I've only been audited once, and it's been a year and a half, and I've received no feedback still. So I have no idea how well we did, but it was a lot of claims. It was, I think, over 4,000 claims, 4,000 notes. Actually, it was the entire files, right, for 77 clients. So it ended up being over 4,000 documents. It was, fairly an easy process. We haven't gotten feedback yet, but if I could say anything, and you may agree with this, is just read your contracts. Every insurance company, it's going to want something different. And if you assume that Blue Cross wants the same thing that Priority Health does, you may be surprised. Do you have something to add?
I have so much to add. I'm just kidding. That was like, yours almost sounded worse than ours, so good. Thank you for that. But no, what I would say is I love Barbara Griswold, the insurance maze lady. She has a specific training called audits and record review, like something like that. But she just walks you through the different kinds. What's a risk adjustment? What's a pre-claim? What's a post-claim? Like just words that she's just talking gibberish until you've heard the first thing. Secondly, I think I did something on CPT codes. That was like, we had just missed the memo on that. National standard, same as the DSM. If you don't have that manual, buy it. It's like a Bible-sized thing. But just read every word on every page for the 5 codes we use. It's not, we're not like a hospital here, right? So know that stuff. And then thirdly, I think I'm doing like a webinar series on this in October. Something about this. I was talking with Sarah about it. But yeah, so just it's just helpful to consult with somebody about what to do to prepare, because there is absolutely no need to not know what these insurance companies are looking for, except that they don't tell you clearly, and they don't even answer your questions right. So yeah, so preparing is 99% what I would recommend doing.
Awesome. And Sarah, let's see if we can get Barbara Griswold to help with that series too. If she's awesome, let's get her in there.
Totally, yeah.
Other questions? Yes? All right, getting my steps in.
Thank you. This question is for Melissa. I feel like I've heard a lot about once you hit 50 full-time employees, you have to do a bunch of things. You have to offer health insurance, whatever. Was getting to that point worth it for your practice? And what was kind of the biggest pain point once you got there?
Yeah. So I think for me, who said the thing about you get to be a job creator? So when I first made my original spreadsheet, when I was my employer said they can't give me a raise because they laid off 1,400 people, even though I'm amazing, which was what prompted me to open a solo practice. But when I sat down to look at it, I was like, I'm going to hire 8. This is going to be great. But 6 of the 8 people I hired were just so phenomenal that I was like, I want to give them opportunities. And so that was basically how we ended up with things, where I was like, Tova, you're getting as much outreach as the practice is. And you're just one of us, because she did perinatal mental health. She had great, just, everything. And so we were like, let's make a specialty team. Do you want to open a location? And then we had a really great supervisor who lived out in the suburbs. And I was like, everyone just moved to the suburbs. It's the pandemic. Do you want to open a location out there? And then we had another person who was also amazing. And I was like, do you want to open a third location? So it felt like it was more led by the people on the staff. And then we would learn along the way, what we would need to do to make that successful for them. But I always wanted to offer, so we offered health insurance from day one. We didn't have PTO, that we were lacking many things, but when I was coming up, I had to basically wait to get married to be able to take the crappy 1099 jobs that would get you the freaking hours. And so I wanted that from the beginning. I was like, I want people to be able to work full time and have health insurance. And that was how we did it. But yeah, I would say we weren't let's get to 50 so we can now be a large group insurance contractor, but there are perks that come along the way with just having that kind of scale, just lower fixed expenses, that kind of thing. Yeah, but I would say is it worth it? I look at our bank account 0 days of my life. It was much more about I just want to keep building something that can be this long-term professional home for people. And not everyone will appreciate that. I would say turnover was my second. I was like, should I talk about the audit or how awful turnover is?
Well, that's all the time we've got. Yeah. So find her in the lobby. Give it up for our consultants.
thank you so much for hanging out with us and listening to our speakers from the Group Practice Conference 2025. We are so excited to have you join us there. Make sure you put on your calendars Black Friday. That's when tickets open up. We want to make sure that you grab that ticket right away. We are so excited to be hosting this here in Traverse City.
You know, we also couldn't do this show without amazing sponsors like Therapy Notes. Therapy Notes is the best electronic health records out there. They will help you switch over from your current EHR. They also give you 2 months for free or just money off if you use promo code Joe at checkout. They are phenomenal. They help with automated billing. It's going to make it easier to outsource your billing. So many reasons to switch to Therapy Notes. Just head on over to therapynotes.com, read about it, and at checkout, just use promo code Joe. Thank you so much for letting me into your ears and into your brain. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Special thanks to the band Silence is Sexy for that intro music, and this podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, the producers, the publishers, or guests are rendering legal, accounting, clinical, or other professional information. If you want a professional, you should find one.